How's it going, everybody? So we did we'll talk about coincidences. Go to I couldn't believe it. I was just like, Michael couldn't believe it either. We seek, we find. So that right there. You know, within 24 hours of my video, I did about 3 or 4 videos on View to a Kill. And they did a video with View to a Kill. Interesting. So Michael and I were really well, you know, we definitely had our opinions about that. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. If you've ever watched We Seek, We Finds videos. So you know, I have been big on May 9th. Mom May 6th, Dad May 7th, Earl May 8th. And I was like, what about May 9th? So then Michael tells me Trump's going to be speaking tomorrow. Another fundraiser. He was at a fundraiser yesterday at the Kentucky Derby. Man's raising a lot of funds. By the way, May 3rd, which was the date on that check, if I'm not mistaken, from the James Bond movie, Bill O'Reilly's Killing Killers released. So just another one of his books. Trump to headline Dallas fundraiser for House GOP on May 9th. There he's going to be in Dallas. Back to Dallas. The event at the Renaissance Dallas Hotel, dubbed Countdown to the Majority. Well, the majority are the goats. They're of the Broadway. So does that mean countdown to the majority because we are going to eliminate the minority, those of the narrow way at the time of the Great Tribulation? Time frames like this, best as I can figure it, because it has to match the Bible. And you mesh it with the predictive programming in the world around us, and you pretty much get this. This is from My Pet Goat and everything, is that he goes down in the fake staged event. And then I would suspect rioting, which would shut down social media, because they will say people are using social media for hate, for grouping up, for rioting, for banding together. The less Americans can communicate, the better. So the law can simmer everything down, because they don't want people like me and you telling other people what's going on, especially if it's to his right eye, which I doubt they're going to say he got hit in his right eye. It would just be a blast to that side of his cranium. And I'm assuming is what they would say anyway. When he shows up, I think when he shows back up, I think there'll be like a right eye situation going on. But anyway, so then you're probably going to get countries allegedly cyber attacking, because your grids will start going down. Internet grids, bank accounts, and the markets are going to crash anyway. And then war. And then the technology is going to get turned up. So illness, faint of heart, I can't breathe, tsunamis, earthquakes. I'm talking like you've never seen on the earth before. Electricity on and off with no social media, but enough to where the news can keep feeding you a narrative, but then it's back out again. It's up, feed a narrative, it's down. And then eventually, if you're living through the war, the military will be dispensing food and water, and just what Trump said, how it would be dispersed. The military would be doing it in a most powerful manner. Then his words would come alive. Quite possibly, if you refuse it when you're near enough to them, they can place you somewhere. That's why you don't want to go anywhere near them. Don't want to go anywhere near them. And if you survive till the winter, well, you know, it could take place in November, December, who knows? But we suspect October, August, now, or anytime in between. So, but if you survive up till the winter, then surviving the winter itself will then be the next scenario. And by then, through the winter, they've killed 2 billion on the earth. By spring, he returns at the total solar eclipse, declares himself to be God. And that's my best guess. You know. So Michael, good stuff. Thank you very much. Like I said in the other video, I do have an eclipse that does hit on May 20th, which then hits on August 2nd. If you include both dates, if you go October 2nd, 1988, believe it or not, October 2nd of all dates, and 1988 of all dates, if you go October 2nd, 1988, include both dates, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. 1, 2, 3, 5, 8 divided by 37, 3, 3, 4. You got a perfect match. You do have to include both dates, which is the norm for them, either or. So you're literally getting October 2nd you're getting an October 2nd to an October 2nd. You're getting an 88 to a 2022. And in the middle of text to Trump, which is 88-022, and we're talking about the eclipse is in 88 and the event is 22. But in text to Trump, where it says 88-022, there's an 802 in the middle of the 5 digits. The second, third, and fourth digits are 802, and that's when I think the event very high. It's y'all, it might be moving up to number 1 on my list because of this. Because that's the 214th day of the year. And it's the 214th Bible verse of Revelation where deadly wound is first mentioned. Now, it's mentioned again 8 verses later, which would put it on the 10th. And then the 12th. Okay, so let's go to January 1st. $2.14. So if you go to the 10th, you get 222. It's day 222. And if you're counting the verses, 211. Whoa. The next time a deadly wound is mentioned, it's at 223 days. So it's actually on the 11th. That's what I was fishing around. The second time a deadly wound is mentioned, it's at the full moon and the end of the dog days of summer, or the rising of Sirius the dog star. And then it's mentioned 2 days later, or 2 verses later again on the 13th. Two 5 days, 211 plus 13. How do I not get that right? 211 plus 3. It's verse 12. It's plus, why did I say plus 13? It's plus 14. 211 plus 14. It's Revelation 13:3, 13:12, 13:14. So you got to plus it 14. Yeah, 225. So it's the August 2nd, August 11th, and August 13th. And it states, so the super high watch days. Now, if you go to add and subtract, if you go to the 11th, which is again another time the deadly wound is mentioned, that's a May 29th hit. Do we have any eclipses that bounce off May 29th? That's the full moon in Sirius the dog star rising. Yes. There's a also 1988 eclipse does. Wow. Both eclipses hit on those Bible verse days of Revelation in August. Oh, wow. Then the next one would be June 1st, and that hits off of an eclipse also. 2019. Man, oh man of war. And the beauty of the last one, if you go to that last verse, which is Revelation 13:14. Let's just key it in. Let's just look at all of them. It's not keying in for me, is it? Let's hit it one more time, see if it'll log me in. Okay. So it's 3, then 12, and then 14. Because that part there is key, and did live. So that's when he would rise. If he goes down the 11th and rise on the 13th. Well, it says and was healed. But then it says here, and did live. I just throw that last statement out I said because it already says was healed. So you can't really go by that. If I'm mumbling and you don't really understand what I'm saying, don't worry about it. Deadly wound was healed. So let's just go with this. Let me backtrack a little bit. The first time a deadly wound right here, deadly wound is mentioned. It's the one that hits off August 2nd. The second time it's mentioned, it hits off August 11th. The third time it's mentioned, it hits off of August 13th, which is 2 days after a full moon and Sirius the dog star rising. So it boils down to 13/3, 13/12, or 13/14, or 2/14, 2/23, which is 3/2/2 backwards, or 2/25. If you like day 2/2/3 the best, that is August 11th. It's Revelation 13:12. The word deadly wound is mentioned for a second time. August times the 11th is an 88, 8 times 11. It's a full moon and Sirius the dog star rising, all in one day. So August 2nd, August 11th, and even the 13th, those are big days, but especially the 2nd, because of the text of Trump. After that, then I would say the 11th, because of everything we've mentioned. Those are big. They're big. Which is great too, because I get my summer break and I'm back to work. Ever since I started tracking all this stuff, I've always wanted it to begin when I had to go back to work. like don't happen at the end of May or the beginning of June when I've worked all the school year. Even though this year I pretty much took a hiatus and I'm just working part-time. It looks like I have a full-time or close to full-time, which is a big difference because that's pay for your own benefits. But I'm on the what they called Obamacare right now. And it's different. It's not like that amazing healthcare I had. That's why I tell people half of politics on one side is great and the other half is garbage, both sides. What's the great part of the Democrat side? They're like, healthcare is ridiculous. And we all know it is. It's preposterous. It's robbery, what they charge. And the way the whole system works with it's all doctors are schooled on is drugs. That's it. Nothing natural. They never tell people to get off gluten. When gluten's been bastardized, it's not real wheat anymore. That's why people are either seriously allergic to it or it eventually will give you an autoimmune. Anyway, we're done with all this. There's no reason for me to keep rambling here. All right. So at the immediate future, and I'll clean this up, the days that have now passed, I need to log down at the bottom. So what does tomorrow look like? This Trump event. You have an eclipse that hits right on it, which is a January 20th penumbral. I think they were 4 in 1 year. Yeah, that's why I got them highlighted in yellow. And there's another one on May 10th that can back into May 9th. So you literally have two by their standards. You also have an annular solar that hits it, a partial lunar that hits it, and the track down episode where a man named Trump was shot. The release date of that was May 9th. If you want to know what backs into it, that's about it. Yeah, other than we already mentioned it, the penumbral. Other two things in my personal life I'm not going to bring into it. It's nothing. It's just stuff I like to look up. All right, so tomorrow's a super big day. Is it as big as the 16th? No. That doesn't mean anything's going to happen on the 16th either. Especially what we just looked at with August 2nd and August 11th. Wow. But you know, there's so much between now and then. And Michael likes to stay focused on the nearest and then just chip at them one at a time, which is why I created this chart. Which is why I just went over May 9th with y'all. I think it is the right thing to do. Is no matter how bad my ADHD gets, or whatever you call it, scatterbrain, I need things like this to keep me focused. That's why I like to put things on graphs and charts and all that kind of stuff. All right. One lady did mention something in comments, but I answered it on my own without being in video. And she just said, I came to your channel through Adam. I said, thank you very much. And nothing else is up. Very good. All right. Love y'all.